This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Anthony Black, he leads all SEC players in minutes played, and he's obviously doing pretty good with that workload. Just how do you think he's handled that as a true freshman playing, so many minutes for you?
Well, I think he keeps getting better, Bob, on both sides of the ball. Obviously, we need him to score certain nights. There's other nights that we need him to, distribute the ball. He's had to try to break presses, both man-to-man presses, zone presses. He's made timely three-point shots for us. So, I think Anthony's done an incredible job. He does a great job in the weight room with what we call, in the training room with what we call prehab. He's in there always with our trainer. And you need that when you play a lot of minutes. You need to get in the training room and try to take care of your body as much as possible.
And then Devo, and Ricky, they're all like top in the SEC in minutes. And I know they're good and you want to play them a lot, but with Nick coming back, you think you can take a few minutes away from them and give them to Nick? And just how do you think that'll work moving forward? And with this being Nick's second game, knocking some rust off, how do you think, what are you expecting from him to Wednesday night?
Well, I think that obviously with Nick coming back, he played 17 minutes, which is 17 more minutes than obviously when he wasn't in uniform. But this is it's almost like our sixth team that we've built with. When you look at, the first team, we had Nick and TB, through that Texas exhibition game in the summer. And then there was a team with no Nick through Maui. And then the third team with Nick and TB against San Jose State for the one game that we've had the roster together, just one game. And then a fourth team with no TB and with Nick, and then a fifth team, no TB, no Nick, and then a sixth team now with Nick. So how minutes, roles, how that gets defined is going to be based on how guys are playing and how the team's playing. We knew that anytime a player comes back, there's an adjustment for not just the player that's been sitting out, but for the other guys as well. So not a lot of teams are making that adjustment this late in the year, and obviously we are, and so hopefully we'll play better than we did against Mississippi State.
Okay, I got a couple more if time allows. I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks, Eric.
Scotty?
Yeah, Eric, I'm curious how important you feel offensive pace is for you guys on Wednesday, I guess, given, A&M wants to kind of grind things out, and then to maybe avoid, some late shot clock situations like you guys had Saturday.
Yeah, we played pretty well against Texas A&M, in the home game at our place. They're really well coached. They understand their roles. They do a good job every night of getting people to eat shot clock up. They're two different teams, A&M and Mississippi State. Both of them are very good basketball teams. Both of them have grinded out type styles. But I thought we did a pretty good job in game one against A&M. They'll make some adjustments. We'll certainly try to make some adjustments. And pace of play every night is important for both teams that are playing. And sometimes when we don't run, we don't turn the ball over as much as well. So hopefully going on the road, we'll play better than we did the other night on Saturday against Mississippi State.
And then specifically with Tyrese Radford, what are the challenges with him? It seems like he's a guy that checks a lot of boxes for that team.
Well, one, he's got great toughness. Two, he's a really good defender. He's an excellent rebounder for his position. He's a high volume free throw attempt player. He's a dynamic scorer. I think he took 19 shots last game in game one against us. So he's a focal point of their offense, obviously. Crafty in pick and rolls. Maybe earlier in his career, he was more of a screen setter in pick and rolls. Now they'll have him as a ball handler in pick and rolls, and he's just so versatile. He can play the 1 through 4, and there's not a lot of guys that can in college basketball that can play 1 through 4 and be equally effective in all 4 positions.
Hutch?
Yeah, Coach, Devo's been so good for you for 9 straight games before this last one. Do you have to say anything to him after this one, or is he kind of like one of those veterans where you just kind of know he knows what he's got to do moving forward?
No, I mean, I think as a coach, you always want to try to talk to your players after games, both individually and collectively as a group. So when we talk about film today, we'll go through different things as a group, and certainly it's important for me to talk with guys individually, whether it be pre-practice, post-practice, discuss matchups, discuss prior games, whatever it may be. But Devo, Devo, I mean, he's been around long enough to, and he's had such an impact on us both sides of the basketball this year. So I'm not really overly concerned with him bouncing back.
And along those same lines, what do you expect from Nick? In his second game back, where do you expect maybe the biggest strides from him?
Well, I think just him gaining experience with the current roster. There's not we don't have a lot of time to figure this whole thing out. I mean, we're every game is magnified from here on out. We have 3 weeks left in this season. And it's our job to try to do everything we can to win as many games as we can with a very difficult schedule. So that's what we have to do. That's our main concern. Our main concern is how do we win as many as we possibly can over this 3-week, 6-game segment.
Curtis?
Coach, you guys were able to shoot it well enough and defend well enough to get an 11-point win in this first matchup, despite shooting 20 fewer shots than A&M. I guess how important is it for you to kind of limit them on the offensive glass and cut down on turnovers a little bit, especially with this one being on the road?
Yeah, I mean, you never want somebody to win the possession game ever, let alone, win the possession game by 20. But we did win. We made some conscious efforts in that last game that made us susceptible to offensive rebounds. And on the flip side, it might have gotten the ball out of certain players' hands for them. It might have sped the game up slightly, a little bit more. So we'll obviously need to do a better job, a significantly better job defensively blocking out. And like I said, I mean, Coach Williams, great coach. He's going to make adjustments. There's zero doubt in my mind that he'll tweak things and make adjustments. And we certainly cannot go into this game with the exact same game plan either. As you mentioned, there were some holes of some things that we gave up in game one's game plan, even though we did win the game and led for most of the game. We've got to do better in a lot of areas with this being a road game.
And then with Wade Taylor, he scored a decent amount of points, but you really made him work for it. I think he was 6 of 19 also in that game. Just what makes him a tough cover, and what are some of the keys to containing him?
Well, I think the thing with Taylor is he's got deep range, he's confident, and then he's got great speed, and he's also got great quickness. He's improved as a ball handler, maybe a little bit more of a 2 shooting guard in the past. Now has evolved into playing the point guard position for him. He's done a great job. And their backcourts, it's a really difficult backcourt to contain because both Taylor and Radford can dribble, drive, and shoot with distance and range. They both can handle the ball in pick and rolls. And then Gordon, even, people don't talk about it. I don't know how many games he started as a college player in the SEC, but it's probably in the 60 range with him as a starter. And he's now coming off the bench. So 3 guards all have specific roles and contribute in different ways for Texas A&M.
Hey, Bob, follow-up question?
Yeah, Eric, I think I got this right. I think A&M leads the SEC in free throws made and attempted. And obviously,
Nation.
yeah, okay. Well, thanks, the nation. And how big is it to keep them, from getting on the line a ton? And obviously, on the road, you tend to get called for more fouls. Visiting team does. That's just kind of life on the road. I mean, how do you balance that? You want to play tough defense. You don't want to foul them a bunch, put them on the line a bunch. Kind of how do you see that aspect of the game playing out?
Well, we draw a lot of fouls too. So hopefully, two teams that relentlessly attack the rim. I thought we did a pretty good job of late of going vertical, which would tend to say there's not going to be as many free throws attempted. So we'll continue to work today and tomorrow on going vertical. Continue to work on trying to keep our man in front of us, so as not to give up too many free throws attempted by the opposition. And then we'll conversely, we'll continue to work on trying to draw fouls on our end.
What is it A&M does to get to the line so much?
Well, I mean, I think it's, it starts with Radford. He's strong. He's, got 3-point range, drives hard to the rim. And then you got inside guys in Coleman and Marble that are, good paint scorers. And then you add in guys like Washington and Garcia. Those two up front off the bench guys come in and they're really, really active and very aggressive. That being 13 Washington and 11 Garcia. So you add all that together, and Dennis is a guy that can make threes and can put some pressure on the rim as well. And so that's, it's an aggressive team on both sides of the ball.
Getting back to Anthony for a minute, it seems like every game we see video of him either getting hit in the abdomen, like in the Super Bowl yesterday or something, or getting slapped in the face. And he's not the biggest guy in the world, kind of wiry, but he seems to just take all this physical punishment and keep coming back. What do you thought about that aspect of his play? And then this is all around you. You mentioned his shooting and facilitating, but he rebounds, he gets assists, probably just turning over a little more than you would like. But just what do you thought about his all-around game and his ability to basically take all this contact?
Well, maybe that's from his football background of being a wide receiver and being willing to take some tough physical. But he's got a great body. He's got a really strong lower body. But I do think, Bob, you brought up the fact that he's a great. You look at point guard rebounding. He's as good a point guard rebounder as there is in college basketball, both offensively and defensively. His offensive rebounds kind of have been at a timely junctures of games. He's obviously out away from the rim a lot, being the point guard and the initiator of the offense. But he does make timely offensive rebounds. There's no doubt about that. Defensive rebounding, there's been games when he's gone up amongst opposing team centers and power forwards and not only rebounded the ball, but also range rebounded out of his area. And he's got great court vision when teams try to trap him in pick and roll. He's done a really good job of finding the roll man or looking at skip passes, looking over the defense for skip passes. So he presents problems for sure. He's great downhill dribble driver, and that downhill dribble drive can lead to dump off passes for teammates, or it can lead to him scoring or drawing free throws as well.
One last question about A&M. That's one of the few you've won it almost everywhere in the league. I think only 3 places you haven't won in just 4 years. And but A&M is one of those places. I know you haven't played there a lot. I think you played there twice. But Mike Anderson had some real good Missouri and Arkansas teams that struggle to win there too. What is it about A&M that makes that a tough road place? Because you really don't think about Reed Arena as a incredible basketball venue, and yet A&M seems to do real well there.
Yeah, I think that probably in my opinion, I've got a short sample size of 3.5 or almost 4 years now of playing. I've only been there twice. So, that's the interesting thing about playing in a league like the SEC is the regular season is, the conference, it's not a balanced schedule. So it's the first time I've ever been a part of any league where it's not a balanced schedule. In the G League, it's pretty balanced, and in the Mountain West, it was balanced. You know, so it's a little bit unique that you don't play everybody twice, and your strength of schedule changes from year to year. Again, I mean, it's finishing up our 4th year, and we've only played there twice. So this will be the 3rd game. But I think anytime you play a well-coached team and then you have to play them on their home floor, it's difficult to win. I can't speak for, you know, the other teams or the other years. I just know that this is a team that has only 2 losses in league. They have an incredible conference record right now, and this will be a very, very challenging game, as will the other road games that we have left on our schedule. We have arguably the 3 best teams on the road, our last 3, road games.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.